Hey, you're watching Half Asian Tarot Queen, and I'm Elisa. And I just want to remind you the giveaway this month is the Golden Art Nouveau Tarot. So the giveaways every month are headquartered in the monthly reading, which is on the main page of the channel. I'm also going to link it here. And basically it's a reading for the whole month. And the reading this month was called Ding Dong, the Witch is Dead. So it was just talking about just sort of like this huge sort of shift happening where these long-held obstacles are sort of like moving, you know. Oh my gosh, it's like right when I did the split, I got like the curse and the beauty way, which is kind of basically saying that, you know, it's just like going from this period of like this like a family curse or like some deep wound that you've been carrying for a while too. This walking in the way of like synchronicity and just like having like things be in alignment and like come to you as you need them. And interestingly, like it's different cards, but that was kind of the main message of the monthly reading. So it's funny that like comes out while I'm shoveling and talking about it. But anyway, I'm going to start, or I've already started, with the Mystical Shaman Tarot. This was the giveaway in July. I've been kind of doing one giveaway a month and sort of kind of trying to build community around that. Oh my gosh. So at the bottom, we got the fire, which this was in the reading that I just did, like the last reading that I posted. And then this is a card of transformation, you know, because it's like everything that, things change when they go into the fire, you know, like wood turns into ash, water turns into air, you know, fire is a transformative element. It's really interesting because I referred to this in yesterday's reading too, but there was a reading about the Minneapolis Uprising called Minneapolis is Burning, where this card came out, and you know, obviously Minneapolis is going through this big transformation, and that's kind of where I was living up until just really recently. So a lot's changing in the world, that's for sure. Okay, so the other cards we got the Spiral, the Hummingbird, and the Owl. So this is really interesting because this really is like a very organic continuation from the readings that have already happened. But the Spiral speaks to sort of, it's like an ascension event. So, you know, I mean, this kind of refers to sort of recurring cycles that happen in life. So you might find yourself in sort of like a situation that kind of keeps repeating in life. Like it might involve different people or different places, but the situation itself is kind of like a recurring theme. And so this experience is kind of inviting you to like look inward and what it is about you or your perception or how you're engaging the world that's attracting this same experience, you know, and it's inviting you to kind of shift your perspective and how you're engaging into the world so that you can actually have a different experience, you know, evolve. And so this card speaks to that. It speaks to sort of having this shift in perspective. And it's interesting because the monthly reading of September, I mean, that's what it was all about. It was like you got the blade and lightning, and it was talking about the sudden shift of perspective that was going to make you go into like a flow state. So it's really, you know, that's kind of what this reading is speaking to, you know, like this transformative event that's going to change how you see things. And then we have the hummingbird. So this card speaks to sort of like going on this quest, you know. I mean, the hummingbird goes on these like arduous journeys, you know, like it's a tiny little bird, but this bird, one second, drama. So the hummingbird is this great adventure. You know, it goes on these epic quests, like these really long journeys, and it's this tiny little bird. But like a couple messages with this. One is that the hummingbird is inviting you to sort of like, you know, move past whatever old situation has been like holding you back and like move on, you know, head for the flowers, you know, don't hang on to the past, you know, like it's the hummingbird's like gonna keep it moving, you know, but also just to like be gentle with yourself and protect your personal space, you know, like the hummingbird's got boundaries. Like even though it's this like tiny little bird, like this bird is like fierce, you know, if you kind of cross this bird, you know, so it's just sort of like, you know, I mean, that might be part of this change of perception, you know, it's just like having boundaries and protecting yourself so that you don't get taken advantage of, you know. I feel like that's a lesson that like came up in one of the readings recently. I mean, there's definitely some recurring themes here. And we got the owl, which this card has been coming up a lot recently too, but this is a card of ancestors like guiding your way. And it's a card of signs and synchronicities coming from those ancestors. They're around, you know, so it's like this hummingbird is gonna like follow its internal guide, and it's gonna take them on this quest to this new, you know, don't be afraid, like if it's uncharted territory, like you might encounter some difficulties, but you're gonna make it, you know, and you've got the guidance of your ancestors around you, so that's auspicious, you know. So I think that's part of this transformation, you know, like both of these cards are speaking to these profound transformations, you know, and it's like you're being led on this journey. So trust that. Okay, I'm going to the Muse Tarot to get some overall energies for this reading. The Muse, I think, was the giveaway for, I want to say it was June. Yeah, so I'm sending a lot of, yeah, the last 3 months in a row I've sent decks to India, so it's pretty wild. But if you are interested in entering this month's giveaway, again, check out the monthly reading in the description box. There's links to the places where you can enter the drawings, and it's good stuff. Okay. Oh. All right, one more. Okay, wow. Oh my gosh. Okay, so this card like kind of fell out when those cards tumped out, and I put it back in, and it came out again at the bottom. So we have the Five of Voices. So this card speaks to, you know, in the traditional deck, we have like this card of like there's sort of like winners and losers, you know, like there's this person that's like kind of won this battle, you know, but there's like all these wounded people behind him, you know, so it's just like it's a victory but like a loss for someone else, you know. But like in this, you know, in this deck, it's just sort of like it's a little bit tortured, you know, because it's like there's this fruit here, you know, and this person is sort of like a little bit like tortured over it. Like, should I take it? Should I not take it? Because there's like all these, you know, these sad people down there, you know, and so there's a little bit of an inner conflict about it, you know. So that's kind of like this underlying energy that's going on, you know. So like maybe this person, this hummingbird, is seeing this like new quest and is like excited about it, but like they feel bad that like not everyone can come, or maybe it's like not, you know, somebody's gonna lose out. It's interesting. There's like this color thing that always happens with, you know, with these stories. That's really interesting. But yeah, so we've got all these watery colors. So like a lot of emotions are coming up with, you know, this person like going off on this new quest, you know. I mean, it's like triggering all this emotion, you know, like we've got the 9 of emotion, which is this, you know, there's like all these fish swimming around this person who's like in this meditative place, and they're just like, this is the card of wishes coming true, you know. And we've got the page of emotion, which is like this message of love, you know, like these are super positive. And we have the magician, which is a card of manifestation and being able to turn lead into gold, and just like you have all the elements that you need to create, you know, your destiny, like what you wish. You know, these are all super positive, like something really positive is happening, but there's a little bit of an inner conflict here, or a lot of an inner conflict, because it's just like, you know, it's good for you, but you know, it might not be for somebody else, and there's like sadness about that, you know. Okay, I'm going to the Golden Art Nouveau to pick some more cards and see if I can get some more details about what's going on. So this is just reminding you that this is the deck that is the giveaway for this month. I really like the artwork on this deck. It's super sparkly, and yeah, it's really cool. Oh my gosh. Also want to remind you, if you're new to the channel, thank you. Welcome to the channel. The videos on this channel are not arranged according to date or zodiac sign, but they're arranged according to storyline. So I often will link related videos to a reading, like in the top up here is where I'll link videos that might be related to this reading. I also arrange them in playlists on the channel. And sometimes I'll even link the playlist, and oftentimes I put them in the description box below. So just different ways that you can sort of browse the channel if you're new. Yeah. Okay. All right. So yeah, at the bottom of the deck, we have the 5 of Cups. So, you know, this is a card of like a little bit of regret, you know, like this person, there's these 5 cups, but 3 of them are spilled, and this person is super focused on the 3 that are spilled, you know, but actually there's 2 cups behind them, you know, so there'd be this wonderful blessing, you know, if they actually shifted their perspective and turned around towards those 2 cups, you know, but right now they're focused on this. So this is a card that's sort of like, you know, letting you know that you should make an intentional effort to shift your perspective on, you know, what's going right and not what's going wrong, you know. So it's like, yeah, there's going to be a loss here, but that's not where you should put your energy, because you know, it might not be your loss, and it might not be your fault, you know, and it might there might not be anything that you can do about it. I mean, that's kind of what this card is saying to me. It's just sort of like, you can't cry over spilled milk, like, because the cards are saying that this is actually, you know, a really auspicious moment for you. And this is where you need to focus your energy, you know. So, don't cry over spilled milk. We have the Death card, the Queen of Swords, and we have the Hierophant. So this is interesting, because I feel like this is a message that's been coming up like in the last several readings too, and definitely in yesterday's reading, that it's kind of like a big like turning point from like going from, like one example was from single life to being married, you know, and we have this big change, this transformation, and then we have this Queen of Swords. It's like drawing these boundaries, you know, and then we have the Hierophant, which is a card of marriage, you know. So it's just sort of like there's this change happening. This person is getting their wishes are coming true, you know, and there's like this cup of love that's being offered to this Queen of Swords, you know. So it's like this Queen of Swords is kind of like, people think she's harsh because she's like just tells the truth, and she like is very clear with her boundaries, you know, and she knows what she wants, you know. So she's oftentimes associated as like this widow, you know, and she's a little prickly, you know, but this queen is getting this message of love, you know, and it looks like this is the beginning of a new something, you know, because we're manifesting some sort of like commitment here, you know. I mean, that's what it looks like. And then we have, you know, the Page of Pentacles. So this is something tangible, like coming online in real life. So there's a change happening. This wish is going from the realm of like energy and wishes to like something's actually happening here, you know, in tangible reality. And then, oh, we've got the Three of Cups. So interestingly, there's this message of love coming to this queen who's kind of been dogged, you know, in the past, but there's a reunion happening. So it's like maybe somebody, a lost love from the past is coming back to this queen. And then we have, what's interesting is we're manifesting this commitment, but we have like the Eight of Cups here, which is like basically like moving on from something that you've invested a lot into in search of like greener pastures, you know. So it's like it might be the end of one commitment and the beginning of another one, or you might have to walk away from something in order to manifest this new situation. So I'm going to pull 3 more cards from the Muse Tarot and see if I can get some guidance. That one really wanted to come out about how we're going to move through this moment. But yeah, there's definitely been some climactic stuff coming through in the last couple of readings. Okay, all right. So at the, you know, at the bottom we have the Muse of Emotions. You know, so this is the King of Cups in the traditional deck, but this is like, I mean, look at that. It's just like this beautiful, like balanced kind of like mirror image of love, you know. It's just sort of like an equal, like give and take, like, and then we have the Lovers, you know, which this is a deep soulmate connection. We have the Two of Inspiration, and we have the Seven of Materials. So it's interesting because, you know, we have this deep connection, and we have the Two of Inspiration, which is kind of like a decision point. Like, it's a make or break moment, you know? Like, we're going to have to make a decision about this, you know, and it seems like we're at this point of we're going to make, like, a commitment here, you know? And then on top of that commitment, we have the Seven of Materials, which is the card of planting seeds for a new beginning, you know? So it's like we're walking away from something that's not serving us and planting seeds for this new beginning and this new commitment, you know, which is like really, you know, I mean, given the context of the readings that have come before, it's like transformative where you're going from like, I mean, it does look like from single life to married life. I don't know. We shall see. I'm going to pull a card from Starseed Oracle to end the reading, but it definitely looks like a big turning point for sure. Interesting stuff. So we'll see what the Starseed says. Also, while I'm shuffling this, just want to mention I'm going to put links down below too if you're interested in checking out ketones. I've been getting involved with this ketone, oh my gosh, company, and it's been having some pretty profound impacts for me. But it's basically a supplement, and it helps to trigger from your body a shift from carb burning to fat burning metabolism. So this has all these positive impacts, you know, for brain health, for, you know, for me, for like autoimmune stuff. I mean, the obvious thing is it helps you burn more fat, so, you know, preferentially building lean muscle. So a lot of body, you know, enthusiasts or like fitness people get into it because as like a performance enhancing supplement. But for me, I've been doing it for sort of wellness reasons, and I've just been having a lot of impacts. So I'm going to put links down below. There's a link with my testimonial about my experience. There's also a link that kind of explains how it works, and then a link to where you can get it too. But yeah, if you have questions, feel free to reach out. Okay, so interestingly, I got The great severing, Mars energy, anger, conflict, and softening to love. Which is interesting because this came out in the reading I just did, the last reading I did. And it was all about, like, kind of overcoming these wounds that have been blocking this kind of connection, you know. And this comes out again. And then we have star bathing. Light body, crystal grid, transmission, activation, you know. So it's just like, yeah, like this person is like being like healed, you know, which is really similar to message that I just got. So, yeah, it's just like a baby step evolution really from the last message that came through, but like clearly there's this big shift overall in the works. So it's interesting that both of these cards came out in the last reading, the Fire card and the Mars card. So super transformative, and like this I think speaks to kind of a dramatic climax, you know, like I don't know, I feel like this has come up in a reading a long time ago, but like there's this movie Frankie and Johnny with Al Pacino and who's the girl, Michelle Pfeiffer, and like, you know, they're both kind of these wounded hearts, you know, and so like they kind of dance around getting together the whole movie. They're both kind of wounded, you know, but at the end there's this explosive moment where they get together and like it's like she's been so guarded because she's like traumatized, you know, and so it's like you have to like release all that trauma in order to open to this experience again. And so there's this like explosive moment, you know, and this is kind of what this card I think speaks to. So good luck with that, navigating that. Looks like it's going to be pretty climactic, but it also looks like there's a lot of potential for some healing here. So good luck, and we'll check in soon.